Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life when the weight we carry becomes too heavy to ignore. Not because we are weak, but because we have been strong for far too long in the wrong places, for the wrong people, and for the wrong reasons. And that moment, that quiet moment when your soul whispers, "Enough," that is the moment your life begins to change. Today I want to talk to you about one of the most powerful words in the human language. A word that can save your future, protect your peace, and rebuild your confidence. That word is no. See, many people think success is about what you say yes to. Yes to opportunities, yes to dreams, yes to growth. And they're right, partially. But the truth most people never learn is this. Your life doesn't change when you start saying yes. Your life changes when you finally start saying no. Because no is a gate. No is a filter. No is a boundary. And without boundaries, you are not living your life. You are living someone else's. Too many people wake up every morning exhausted, not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too much of what doesn't matter. For people who don't appreciate it at the cost of who they were born to be. Let me tell you something. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Some of you have dreams that are suffocating because you keep saying yes to distractions, yes to drama, yes to people who drain you, and yes to situations that keep stealing your time, your confidence, your energy, and your peace of mind. Hear me today. Your yes has value. Your yes is precious. Your yes is your life's currency. And you're giving it away too cheaply. It's time to take your life back, not by force, not by anger, not by isolation, but by courageously using a two-letter word that will become your shield. No. Say no to the people who only call you when they want something. Say no to the habits that keep pulling you backwards. Say no to the old version of yourself that settled for less because you didn't believe you deserved more. Say no to the limitations you inherited from people who stopped believing in their own dreams. Say no to fear, to doubt, to guilt, to pressure, to expectations that were never yours to carry. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you did something for yourself, guilt-free? When was the last time you sat quietly and asked yourself, what do I need? Not what do they need, not what will they think, not who will be disappointed, but what do you need? Because if your life is always about keeping everyone else happy, you will end up empty while everyone else is full. You were not born to be a doormat. You were not born to be a backup plan. You were not born to be a yes machine for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. You were born with a purpose, a calling, a fire inside you that's been waiting to breathe. But you'll never reach that purpose until you learn the power of no. Now let me be clear. No is not negative. No is not rude. No is not selfish. No is self-respect. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you are saying yes to something that grows you. Say no to procrastination so you can say yes to discipline. Say no to excuses so you can say yes to progress. Say no to toxic people so you can say yes to peace. Say no to who you used to be so you can say yes to who you were meant to be. But here's the truth. People will not like it when you change. They will not clap for your boundaries. They will not applaud your self-respect. Because when you stop giving people unlimited access to you, they will call you selfish. When you stop tolerating behavior that hurts you, they will call you difficult. When you stop allowing people to take advantage of your kindness, they will call you rude. But listen carefully. The people who get angry when you set boundaries are the people who benefited from you having none. And if someone gets upset because you're finally valuing yourself, let them be upset. Their disappointment is not your responsibility. Their reaction is not your problem. Their opinion is not your truth. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your mental health. You don't owe anyone your life. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine the life you could live if you protected your time the way you protect your phone. Imagine the confidence you could build if you stopped saying yes out of fear. Imagine the dreams you could accomplish if you stopped giving your energy to people who waste it. You deserve that life. But you must fight for it. Not with fists, not with anger, but with clarity. Clarity that sounds like, no, I'm not available today. No, I can't take on that responsibility. No, I won't accept disrespect. No, I won't shrink myself to make you comfortable. No, I won't carry guilt that doesn't belong to me. And the moment you start speaking like that, something amazing happens. You start to feel lighter, stronger, more focused, more alive. Because saying no creates space. And space is where healing happens. Space is where creativity returns. Space is where clarity rises. Space is where your real life begins. Listen, your future needs you. Your calling needs you. Your potential needs you. Your destiny needs you. But they cannot find you if you're buried under everyone else's expectations. So today, this moment, I want you to make a decision that will echo through every part of your life. I will protect my peace. I will honor my time. I will respect my worth. I will choose myself. And the way you do that is by saying no. So if you're ready, truly ready, to take your life back, then stand tall, breathe deep, and let these words settle in your spirit. You do not need permission to take care of yourself. You do not need approval to change your life. You do not need acceptance to rise higher. You only need courage. Courage to speak up. Courage to set boundaries. Courage to walk away. Courage to choose yourself, even when it scares you. You've given enough. You've sacrificed enough. You've explained enough. You've carried enough. Now it's time. Time to reclaim your life. Time to rebuild your confidence. Time to rise again. Time to use the word that will set you free. No. Say it with power. Say it with pride. Say it with purpose. Because the day you start saying no is the day you finally take your life back. Time is the most valuable resource you have. It is the currency of your life. Every second you spend is a second you will never get back. Every hour you waste is a piece of your future slipping away. And every day you surrender to obligations that aren't yours is a day stolen from your dreams. Yet, so many people live as though time is infinite. As though there will always be another chance, another opportunity, another day to live fully. They say yes to everything, thinking they are being helpful, thinking they are being loyal, thinking they are being productive. But in reality, they are giving away their most precious gift, time itself. Saying no is not just a word. It is a declaration of self-worth, a shield against the constant erosion of your energy, and a fortress around the peace you have worked so hard to build. When you say yes to every request, every favor, every task, and every demand, you dilute your own power. You divide your attention and scatter your focus. You are essentially telling the world that your life is less important than the convenience or comfort of others. And the truth is, most people will take without asking, will demand without caring, and will drain without realizing that they are consuming something irreplaceable. Your time, your energy, your attention, these are non-renewable resources. Once spent, they cannot be recovered, and every moment wasted on someone else's priorities is a moment lost from your own potential, your own growth, your own purpose. Saying no is a form of self-respect. It is an acknowledgement that your life has limits, and that limits are not weaknesses but boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible fences that protect your inner world. Without them, you are exposed, vulnerable to the whims of others, and easily manipulated by guilt, expectation, or pressure. Many people fear saying no because they have been conditioned to believe that no is rude, no is selfish, no is rejection. They think that refusing someone will make them unloved, disliked, or unworthy. But the reality is that saying no does not diminish your worth, it enhances it. It communicates to the world that you value yourself enough to protect your own resources, that you understand the power of your own time, that you are not willing to sacrifice your energy for someone else's convenience at the expense of your own life. Energy is another form of currency, and it is intimately tied to time. Every yes you give to someone else's demand drains your energy. Every commitment you make out of obligation, guilt, or fear saps the strength you need to pursue your own goals. Energy is not infinite. It is a finite reservoir that must be managed, conserved, and directed with intention. When you constantly say yes to others, you scatter your energy across many directions, leaving none for yourself. You find yourself exhausted, frustrated, and resentful, wondering why life feels heavy, why your dreams feel distant, why your joy feels stolen. Saying no allows you to conserve energy for the things that truly matter, for the people who genuinely deserve it, for the goals that align with your purpose. Saying no is not about depriving others. It is about equipping yourself to give your best where it counts most. Peace is perhaps the most fragile, yet most essential element of a fulfilling life. It is not the absence of conflict or struggle, but the presence of alignment, clarity, and calm in your inner world. Every yes you give to someone else's demands, to situations that do not serve you, to obligations that are not yours to carry, chips away at your peace. It accumulates like small cracks in the foundation of a building, invisible at first, but eventually threatening to collapse everything you have built. Peace requires boundaries. Peace requires courage. Peace requires the ability to say no without apology, to protect your mental, emotional, and spiritual space from unnecessary intrusion. People who do not understand this will try to guilt you, manipulate you, or make you feel selfish for setting limits. But their discomfort is not your problem. Your responsibility is to your own well-being, to your own capacity to live fully, and to your own ability to steward your life wisely. Saying no also creates clarity. When you refuse what does not serve you, you make space for what does. Every no is a clearing of clutter, a removal of distractions, a signal to yourself and the universe that you are intentional about your life. When you say no to draining activities, you say yes to growth, creativity, learning, and productivity. When you say no to toxic people, you say yes to healthy relationships, support, and meaningful connection. When you say no to anything that diminishes your spirit, you say yes to resilience, confidence, and self-trust. Life is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Saying no is the tool that allows you to prioritize, focus, and align your actions with your vision for yourself. Many people are afraid to say no because of fear. The fear of confrontation, the fear of rejection, the fear of missing out. They worry that saying no will create tension, that it will cost them relationships, that it will make them appear uncaring or unkind. But the people who truly matter, the people who are meant to be part of your life, will respect your no. They will understand your boundaries. They will admire your courage to protect your resources. And even if some relationships are lost, it is not a loss. It is a pruning. Just as a gardener trims branches to allow a tree to grow stronger and healthier, saying no trims away distractions, obligations, and attachments that are not aligned with your growth. Saying no is also a practice. It is not easy at first because we have been trained to please, to accommodate, to comply. But like any skill, it strengthens with repetition. Every time you say no, you build confidence. Every time you say no, you reinforce your sense of agency. Every time you say no, you teach yourself that your life, your energy, and your peace are worth protecting. Over time, the word no becomes less intimidating, less guilt-inducing, less uncomfortable. It becomes a tool, a weapon, a shield, and a declaration of independence. Consider your daily life. How much of it is spent on things you did not choose, on commitments you accepted out of obligation, on interactions that leave you depleted? Now imagine if you could reclaim even a fraction of that time, energy, and peace. Imagine if you could say no without hesitation, without apology, without fear. Imagine the clarity that would come, the focus that would emerge, the opportunities you would uncover, and the joy that would return. This is not a fantasy. It is a choice. It is a skill. It is a commitment to yourself. When you start saying no to what does not serve you, life begins to shift. Your priorities realign. Your mind clears. Your energy returns. Your purpose becomes visible. You discover that life is not a series of obligations to others, but a canvas for your own creation. You realize that the world will not fall apart if you protect yourself. You recognize that saying no is not about rejection, but about selection, choosing where, how, and with whom you invest the most precious resources you have. Every time you say no, you are practicing self-love. Every time you say no, you are reinforcing your boundaries. Every time you say no, you are sending a message to yourself and to the world that your life, your energy, and your peace are non-negotiable. Saying no is not denial, it is empowerment. It is the recognition that you cannot pour from an empty cup. It is the understanding that your ability to live fully, to achieve your dreams, to create impact, depends on how wisely you steward your own resources. And yet, despite knowing all of this, many people continue to say yes out of habit, out of guilt, out of fear, and out of obligation. They sacrifice their time, drain their energy, and lose their peace while believing they are doing the right thing. But the truth is, the right thing is not to please everyone else. The right thing is to honor yourself. The right thing is to say no when necessary, to protect what is yours, and to live intentionally rather than reactively. Saying no is a declaration of ownership over your life. It is saying, I am responsible for my time, I am responsible for my energy, and I am responsible for my peace. It is a refusal to allow external demands to dictate your inner state. It is a commitment to your own well-being, to your own growth, and to your own purpose. The people who cannot accept your no are not your responsibility. The obligations that do not serve you are not your burden. The distractions that steal your energy are not your duty. Your responsibility is to yourself, to live fully, to live intentionally, and to protect the most valuable resources you have been given. Boundaries are not walls. They are bridges to freedom, to clarity, to self-respect. They are the lines you draw around your life to protect your time, your energy, and your peace. Boundaries are the difference between living a life dictated by others and living a life designed by you. Yet so many people resist setting boundaries because they have been conditioned to believe that boundaries are selfish, that they are rigid, or that they will push people away. But the truth is, boundaries are the most powerful tool for growth, the clearest declaration of self-worth, and the only way to ensure that your life moves in the direction of your own purpose, rather than being pulled in every direction by the demands, expectations, and limitations of others. When you live without boundaries, you are constantly reactive. Your emotions, your decisions, and your actions are dictated by whoever has the loudest voice or the most pressing demand. You become a collector of obligations, a magnet for stress, and a servant to the priorities of people who may not even care about your dreams. You find yourself exhausted at the end of the day, wondering how time has slipped through your fingers, how energy has vanished, and why your goals feel further away than ever. Boundaries are the antidote to this chaos. They are the framework that allows you to say yes intentionally, to commit to what matters, and to protect what is essential. Boundaries are also a declaration of self-respect. They communicate to yourself and to the world that you are valuable, that your time is precious, and that your energy is not a commodity to be spent carelessly. Many people have been conditioned to believe that setting boundaries is rude, unkind, or selfish. But the opposite is true. Without boundaries, you are saying to the world that your life is not important, that your needs are secondary, and that your well-being is negotiable. Boundaries are the first step toward reclaiming your power, because they remind you every day that your life matters, your time matters, and your energy matters. Boundaries are essential for growth because growth requires focus. You cannot grow if your attention is scattered. Your priorities are constantly interrupted, or your energy is being drained by obligations that do not serve your purpose. Every boundary you set is a declaration of where your focus lies, a removal of distractions and a protection of the energy needed to pursue your goals. When you respect your own boundaries, you create the mental, emotional, and physical space necessary for learning, for improvement, for innovation, and for creativity. Growth is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most. Boundaries give you the ability to identify what matters most and to act on it without guilt or hesitation. Without boundaries, people will take advantage of your kindness. They will demand more than you can give. They will manipulate your generosity, and they will exhaust your energy because you have not made it clear what is acceptable and what is not. Many people stay stuck in cycles of exhaustion and resentment because they do not set limits, because they fear conflict, and because they worry about how others will perceive them. But boundaries are not about creating conflict, they are about creating clarity. They are about communicating your values, your priorities, and your standards so that others understand where you stand and what you are willing to accept. Boundaries also cultivate self-trust. When you consistently enforce your limits, you learn to honor your own needs and desires. You learn that your feelings matter, your energy matters, and your life matters. This self-trust is the foundation for confidence, resilience, and courage. Without boundaries, you rely on external validation, approval, or permission to live your life. With boundaries, you no longer need permission to prioritize yourself. You no longer wait for others to acknowledge your worth. You take full responsibility for your life, your choices, and your growth. And you build the inner strength necessary to navigate challenges, overcome obstacles, and pursue your goals relentlessly. Boundaries are also critical in relationships. They define what is healthy and what is toxic, what is supportive and what is draining, what is love and what is obligation. Without boundaries, relationships become imbalanced. One person gives endlessly while the other takes without consideration. One person sacrifices while the other benefits without gratitude. Boundaries create equality, respect, and understanding. They allow relationships to thrive because both parties understand the limits, expectations, and responsibilities that govern the connection. Boundaries prevent resentment from building, prevent energy from being stolen, and ensure that relationships are sustainable over time. Many people fear that setting boundaries will lead to rejection, isolation, or conflict. They worry that people will be offended, upset, or angry when limits are established. But the truth is, people will respect you more when you respect yourself. People may resist initially, but over time, boundaries teach them how to interact with you, how to honor your time, and how to respect your space. Without boundaries, you give people permission to disregard your needs, to prioritize their desires over yours, and to diminish your value. Boundaries prevent this erosion of self-worth and create a foundation of mutual respect that supports long-term growth and fulfillment. Boundaries are also essential for mental and emotional health. When you allow constant intrusion into your life, you increase stress, anxiety, and frustration. You carry burdens that are not yours to carry. You take on responsibilities that were never meant for you. And you tolerate behaviors that harm your peace. Boundaries allow you to release unnecessary burdens, reduce mental clutter, and create a calm, focused environment where your mind can operate at its best. They are the filter that separates what is meaningful from what is distracting, what is supportive from what is draining, and what contributes to your growth from what holds you back. Boundaries also reinforce accountability. When you define limits and communicate them clearly, you set expectations for yourself and others. You take responsibility for your actions, your commitments, and your time. You clarify what you are willing to accept and what you are not willing to accept. This clarity allows you to make decisions with confidence, take ownership of your life, and hold others accountable for respecting your space and values. Without boundaries, accountability is blurred, responsibility is diffused, and you end up sacrificing your growth for the convenience of others. Boundaries are not static, they evolve as you grow. What you tolerate today may not serve you tomorrow. What you accept in your 20s may no longer align with your 30s. What worked for you in one season may not work in the next. Boundaries must be revisited, reinforced, and adjusted to reflect your evolving values, priorities, and goals. This ongoing process of boundary setting is an essential part of personal growth, self-respect, and intentional living. It requires courage, self-awareness, and the willingness to prioritize your own well-being above external pressures. Every boundary you set is an investment in yourself. Every limit you enforce is a declaration that your life has value, that your energy has worth, and that your growth matters. Boundaries are not walls that isolate you. They are the pillars that support your life, the beams that uphold your purpose, and the compass that guides you towards your potential. They are the bridge between who you are and who you are capable of becoming, the framework that allows you to pursue your dreams without distraction, and the foundation for a life of integrity, focus, and fulfillment. Boundaries are also about saying yes strategically. They are not about rejection for the sake of rejection. They are about protection, so that when you do say yes, it is meaningful, intentional, and aligned with your purpose. Boundaries allow you to invest your time, energy, and attention where it truly matters. To people who uplift you, to activities that challenge you, and to opportunities that expand your potential. Without boundaries, your yes is scattered, diluted, and ineffective. With boundaries, your yes becomes powerful, transformative, and impactful. Many people fail to understand that boundaries are a form of liberation. They liberate you from guilt, from obligation, from people-pleasing, from overcommitment, from the tyranny of others' expectations. They allow you to define your life on your own terms, to live intentionally rather than reactively, and to pursue growth without compromise. They create the space necessary for reflection, creativity, learning, and fulfillment. They are the scaffolding upon which a life of purpose and self-respect is built. Many people live their lives believing that saying no is selfish. They have been taught that refusing requests, declining invitations, or prioritizing their own needs over others is rude, unkind, or morally wrong. They grow up hearing phrases like, "Think of others first, you should help when you can," or "Don't be selfish." While these ideas may sound noble on the surface, they come with a hidden cost, a life drained of energy, joy, and purpose. The truth is that saying no is not selfish. It is the most vital form of self-preservation, the practice that allows you to protect your time, your energy, your peace, and your potential. Understanding this distinction is one of the most important lessons you can ever learn in life. Self-preservation begins with awareness. It begins with the realization that your life is finite, your energy is limited, and your time is precious. Every yes you give to something that does not serve you, every obligation you accept out of fear or guilt, every demand you meet that conflicts with your purpose is a depletion of your resources. If you never protect these resources, you will eventually find yourself exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from your dreams. Saying no is the first line of defense against this depletion. It is a way to acknowledge your limits, honor your capacity, and prioritize your life in alignment with what truly matters. Many people mistake self-preservation for selfishness because society often values sacrifice over balance. They are praised for overworking, for constantly giving, for putting themselves last, and for bending under pressure to meet the demands of others. Yet these behaviors are not markers of greatness. They are markers of exhaustion, frustration, and imbalance. Sacrificing your well-being for the comfort or convenience of others is not noble. It is destructive. It slowly erodes your energy, undermines your confidence, and creates an invisible prison where your potential is trapped behind obligation. Saying no is the act that frees you from this prison, the act that allows you to reclaim control over your life, and the act that protects you from the slow decay of your resources. Energy is intimately tied to self-preservation. Every task, every request, and every commitment requires energy. When you say yes indiscriminately, your energy is spread thin across many directions, leaving little or none for the things that truly matter. Your dreams, your growth, your relationships, and your personal development all require energy. Yet most people give it away freely to situations that do not serve them. Saying no allows you to redirect your energy where it will have the greatest impact. It is the conscious act of choosing what deserves your focus and what does not. It is not a rejection of others. It is an investment in yourself. Saying no is also a statement of value. When you refuse something that does not align with your priorities, you are sending a message to yourself and to the world. Your time is worth protecting. Your energy is worth conserving, and your peace is worth defending. People may label this behavior as selfish, but in reality, it is a recognition of the truth that you cannot give what you do not have. If you deplete yourself trying to satisfy everyone else, you have nothing left to give to your goals, your family, or even your own well-being. Self-preservation is the foundation upon which generosity, productivity, and fulfillment are built. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and saying no ensures that your cup remains full. Many people hesitate to say no because they fear confrontation or rejection. They worry that refusing a request will make others angry, disappointed, or upset. They fear the social consequences of putting themselves first. Yet this fear is based on a misunderstanding of what self-preservation truly is. Self-preservation does not require cruelty, rudeness, or hostility. It simply requires clarity, honesty, and courage. It is about stating your limits firmly, respectfully, and consistently, and allowing others to understand that your life is your responsibility. The discomfort of saying no is temporary, but the long-term benefits of protecting your life, energy, and peace are permanent. Boundaries are an essential part of self-preservation. When you set limits on what you will tolerate, how much you will give, and how often you will be available, you create a structure for your life that allows you to thrive rather than merely survive. Without boundaries, you leave yourself vulnerable to exploitation, manipulation, and burnout. People will take advantage of your kindness if you allow it. Obligations will pile up if you have no limits. Stress will become constant if you do not protect your energy. Saying no is the tool that constructs these boundaries and reinforces your commitment to your own well-being. Saying no is also a practice of self-awareness. It forces you to assess what is truly important to you, what aligns with your values, and what contributes to your growth. Every time you say no, you clarify your priorities and strengthen your ability to make intentional decisions. You learn to recognize the difference between opportunities that serve your purpose and distractions that derail it. This self-awareness is critical because without it, you are at the mercy of others' expectations, obligations, and demands. Saying no is not selfish. It is a deliberate act of aligning your actions with your intentions and living according to your own standards rather than being controlled by external pressures. People often confuse saying no with being unkind. They worry that boundaries will hurt others or make them seem uncaring. Yet the opposite is true. Saying no is an act of integrity, honesty, and respect for yourself and for others. When you say no, you are not pretending, overcommitting, or giving false hope. You are communicating clearly, preventing resentment, and preserving the quality of your contributions. You cannot serve others effectively if you're exhausted, frustrated, or distracted. Saying no ensures that when you do commit, you are fully present, fully engaged, and fully capable of delivering value without compromising your well-being. Saying no is a way to protect your mental health. Every yes you give that stretches you beyond your limits, every obligation you accept that drains you, and every situation you tolerate that causes stress or anxiety chips away at your stability. Mental health requires boundaries, clarity, and intentionality. Self-preservation is not selfishness. It is the practice of maintaining your mind, emotions, and spirit in a state that allows you to function at your highest level. Saying no is an essential tool for maintaining this balance, for reducing unnecessary stress, and for prioritizing your well-being in a world that constantly demands more than you can give. Saying no also strengthens self-discipline. It trains you to make conscious choices rather than reactive ones. It develops the muscle of focus, the ability to prioritize, and the clarity to recognize what deserves your time and what does not. The people who live fully are not those who say yes to everything. They are those who choose their yes wisely. Self-preservation is the practice of refining this ability, of understanding that every no is a yes to something more important, more aligned, and more meaningful. The fear of being perceived as selfish is a common obstacle, but it is a fear that must be overcome. People who truly understand the value of life, energy, and peace will respect your boundaries. Those who do not will reveal themselves, and that is a valuable lesson in itself. Saying no allows you to separate genuine relationships and opportunities from distractions, demands, and obligations that do not serve you. It is not rejection, it is protection. It is not selfishness, it is self-preservation. Saying no is also an act of courage. It requires the bravery to prioritize yourself when the world pressures you to give, the strength to enforce limits when it is easier to comply, and the wisdom to recognize that your well-being is the foundation for everything else. Without this courage, you will live a life dictated by others, pulled in multiple directions, and exhausted from overcommitment. Self-preservation is the armor that shields you from this exhaustion, the strategy that allows you to live intentionally, and the practice that ensures your life is guided by your values rather than the demands of others. Prioritizing yourself is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Too many people live their lives on autopilot, giving their time, energy, and attention to everyone else, believing that their own needs are secondary, optional, or even selfish. They wake up exhausted, feeling unfulfilled, and wonder why their dreams remain distant. They spend years sacrificing themselves for others, thinking that this is what life demands, thinking that this is what love or loyalty requires. And in the process, they lose touch with who they truly are. The moment you begin to prioritize yourself is the moment your life begins to change. It is the moment that clarity emerges, energy returns, and purpose rises to the surface, reminding you of what you were meant to accomplish. When you prioritize yourself, you make a statement. Your needs, your dreams, your growth, and your well-being are important. They are worthy of attention, focus, and dedication. Many people have been conditioned to believe that self-care, self-respect, or self-interest is wrong or selfish. They fear that putting themselves first will make them appear arrogant, uncaring, or self-centered. But the truth is the opposite. By prioritizing yourself, you gain the strength, focus, and resilience to give more meaningfully to others. You become a more authentic, more capable, and more effective version of yourself because you are not constantly depleted, distracted, or exhausted. Prioritizing yourself begins with clarity. You cannot focus on your own growth, purpose, and goals if you are constantly putting out fires in other people's lives. You must identify what truly matters to you, what aligns with your values, and what contributes to your long-term vision. Once you have clarity about your priorities, the choices you make become easier, your actions become intentional, and your energy is no longer wasted on distractions that do not serve you. Prioritization is the practice of filtering your life, of distinguishing between what is essential and what is trivial, and of committing your time and attention to what will truly move you forward. Energy is directly tied to prioritization. Every person has a limited amount of physical, emotional, and mental energy. When you constantly put others first, you are depleting your most valuable resource. Your ability to pursue your dreams, to solve problems, to create impact, and to nurture meaningful relationships diminishes. Prioritizing yourself allows you to allocate energy strategically to the areas that matter most. It allows you to focus on growth, learning, and personal development. It allows you to recharge, to rejuvenate, and to approach life with clarity and strength, rather than fatigue and frustration. Prioritizing yourself also builds confidence. Every time you make a choice that honors your needs, you reinforce the belief that your life has value and that you are capable of shaping it intentionally. Confidence grows when you learn to trust your own judgment, to enforce your boundaries, and to act according to your values. Without prioritization, confidence erodes because your actions are dictated by the expectations of others rather than your own aspirations. Your self-worth becomes tied to approval, and your growth becomes limited by external pressures. Prioritizing yourself is the antidote. It restores power, autonomy, and the courage to live authentically. Many people avoid prioritizing themselves because of guilt. They fear that taking time for their own growth, needs, or dreams will upset others, disappoint loved ones, or make them appear selfish. Yet guilt is a construct, a story we tell ourselves to justify overextending and neglecting our own life. When you prioritize yourself, you are not abandoning responsibility, neglecting compassion, or rejecting love. You are ensuring that you are whole, capable, and present in the areas where it truly matters. Guilt may attempt to pull you back, but the moment you recognize that your own life deserves focus, you begin to reclaim control, direction, and purpose. Prioritizing yourself is not about isolation, it is about alignment. It is about creating space to live according to your values, pursue your goals, and build the life you envision. When you are aligned with yourself, your actions are intentional, your relationships are healthier, and your energy is concentrated on what matters most. You become a source of inspiration rather than obligation. You attract people, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with your purpose because you are living authentically rather than bending to the demands of others. Prioritization amplifies your impact because you are not scattered, depleted, or distracted. You are focused, strong, and purposeful. Time is a critical element in prioritization. Many people give away their days to activities that do not contribute to their growth or fulfillment. They fill their schedules with tasks, obligations, and expectations that drain rather than energize. Prioritizing yourself requires conscious choices about how you spend your time. It means saying yes to what matters and no to what does not. It means investing your hours in pursuits that align with your goals, nurture your well-being, and strengthen your purpose. Time is finite, and prioritizing yourself is the practice of investing it wisely. Prioritizing yourself also creates resilience. Life is unpredictable, full of challenges, setbacks, and obstacles. When you have invested in your own growth, well-being, and priorities, you are better equipped to handle adversity. You have the energy, focus, and clarity to navigate challenges without being overwhelmed. You have the mental and emotional resources to recover quickly, to adapt, and to continue moving toward your vision. Without prioritization, you are vulnerable. You are reactive rather than proactive, scattered rather than focused, and easily derailed by the pressures and demands of life. Relationships are transformed when you prioritize yourself. People who constantly neglect their own needs often experience imbalance in their relationships. They give too much, tolerate too much, and allow others to dictate their life. This imbalance breeds resentment, frustration, and fatigue. When you prioritize yourself, you model healthy boundaries, self-respect, and intentional living. Your relationships improve because you interact from a place of strength and clarity rather than depletion. You attract people who respect your priorities, honor your boundaries, and support your growth. You let go of those who drain your energy, demand constant compromise, or prevent you from living fully. Prioritizing yourself is also about saying yes to growth and opportunity. It is about choosing experiences, learning, and actions that propel you forward. Every time you focus on yourself intentionally, you strengthen your capacity to pursue goals, to explore potential, and to expand your horizons. It is not about ignoring others or being selfish. It is about creating the conditions under which you can give your best, contribute meaningfully, and live authentically. Your ability to influence, lead, and inspire increases when you are operating from a place of alignment and self-prioritization. Prioritization requires courage. It requires the bravery to choose your own path when the world expects compliance. It requires the strength to enforce boundaries even when others resist or criticize. It requires the wisdom to recognize that your life is your responsibility and that the only way to live fully is to honor your own needs and purpose. Every small choice to prioritize yourself reinforces this courage. Every decision to invest in your well-being, time, or energy strengthens your resilience, focus, and capacity to live intentionally. Prioritizing yourself is a daily practice. It is not a one-time decision, but a continual process of evaluating, adjusting, and committing to what truly matters. Each day offers opportunities to choose alignment over distraction, purpose over obligation, and growth over depletion. By consistently prioritizing yourself, you create momentum, reinforce your boundaries, and cultivate a life where your energy, focus, and actions are directed toward the outcomes you desire rather than being scattered by the demands of others. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to act despite it. And when it comes to reclaiming your life, there is no act more courageous, no decision more transformative, and no skill more empowering than learning to say no. Many people live their lives trapped in a cycle of obligation, distraction, and expectation. They say yes because it is easier than conflict, because it avoids disappointment, or because they fear the reaction of others. They surrender their time, energy, and focus to demands that do not align with their purpose. And over time, this pattern erodes their confidence, clouds their clarity, and diminishes their power. Courage to say no is the first step in breaking free from this cycle and reclaiming ownership of your life. Saying no requires honesty. It requires being truthful with yourself about what you can handle, what aligns with your values, and what serves your long-term goals. Many people avoid saying no because they want to appear agreeable, kind, or cooperative. But this avoidance comes at a cost. Each unspoken no, each forced yes, chips away at your energy, focus, and confidence. Courage is the ability to speak your truth even when it is uncomfortable. It is the willingness to declare your boundaries clearly and firmly, without apology, and to accept that some people may resist, misunderstand, or be upset. But that resistance is not your burden. It is their reaction. And your responsibility is to honor your life first. Courage to say no also requires self-awareness. You must recognize the difference between requests that support your growth and requests that deplete your energy. You must understand that your time is finite, your energy is limited, and your peace is sacred. Without this awareness, saying yes becomes automatic, habitual, and destructive. Every yes given out of fear, obligation, or guilt is a step further from the life you are meant to live. Courage begins with reflection. It begins with the willingness to examine your priorities, values, and desires honestly, and to align your decisions accordingly. Saying no is the act that confirms your commitment to living intentionally rather than reactively. Fear is one of the greatest obstacles to courage. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being perceived as selfish or unkind holds countless people captive. They say yes to avoid tension, maintain appearances, or escape criticism. But fear is an illusion when measured against the cost of surrendering your life to others' expectations. Every yes given out of fear is a small surrender of control, a slow erosion of autonomy, and a compromise of your potential. Courage is the force that allows you to act in spite of this fear. It is the recognition that reclaiming your life is more valuable than appeasing temporary discomfort, more critical than avoiding judgment, and more rewarding than pleasing everyone else. Saying no is also an act of empowerment. When you exercise this courage, you take control of your choices, your time, and your direction. You move from being reactive to being proactive. You stop being a passive participant in your own life and become the architect of your destiny. Each no you speak, each boundary you enforce, reinforces your authority over your own life. Empowerment grows with every decision that aligns with your purpose, every action that protects your energy, and every refusal to be diverted by obligations that do not matter. Courage is the engine behind this empowerment, and saying no is the vehicle that carries you forward. Reclaiming your life requires discipline as well as courage. It is not enough to say no once. You must practice it consistently. Every day presents choices, pressures, and distractions that test your boundaries. Every request you receive challenges your ability to prioritize yourself. Courage strengthens with repetition. Each time you enforce a boundary, each time you refuse what does not serve you, you strengthen the habit of intentional living. Over time, saying no becomes less intimidating, less uncomfortable, and more natural. It becomes part of the framework that allows you to direct your life according to your vision, rather than being swept along by the demands of others. Courage to say no also protects your mental and emotional health. Life will present situations and people who drain your energy, steal your focus, and disrupt your peace. Without courage, you are forced to tolerate these pressures, silently suffer their impact, and compromise your well-being. Saying no is the act that draws a line between what you will accept and what you will reject. It is the refusal to allow external forces to dictate your inner state. Mental clarity, emotional balance, and personal resilience are strengthened when you exercise this courage consistently. Your ability to handle challenges grows because your energy is preserved for the battles that matter, not wasted on distractions or obligations that do not align with your purpose. Relationships are transformed when courage becomes part of your daily practice. Many people avoid saying no in relationships because they fear tension or conflict. Yet without boundaries, relationships become imbalanced, draining, and unsustainable. Courage allows you to enforce limits respectfully, communicate expectations clearly, and maintain your integrity without guilt. Over time, this courage fosters mutual respect, strengthens trust, and creates authentic connections. Relationships that survive the clarity of your no are relationships worth maintaining, while those that cannot respect your boundaries reveal themselves as unsupportive or draining. Courage to say no also fuels personal growth. Every time you refuse what does not serve you, you create space for what does. Time, energy, and focus are liberated to pursue goals, cultivate skills, and embrace opportunities that expand your potential. Without courage, your growth is stunted because you remain scattered, reactive, and committed to what does not matter. Saying no is the first step in aligning your actions with your ambitions. It is the tool that clears obstacles, the lever that lifts limitations, and the gateway to transformation. Growth becomes inevitable when courage guides your decisions, and no becomes a statement of intent rather than a hesitation. Saying no is not only about rejecting external demands, it is about affirming your internal priorities. Courage gives you the strength to honor your values, your purpose, and your long-term vision. It is the realization that living for others' expectations, opinions, or desires is a slow surrender of your own potential. Every yes given out of obligation, fear, or guilt is a delay in your evolution. Courage allows you to pause, assess, and act in alignment with your highest priorities. No is the tool that translates awareness into action, reflection into choice, and potential into reality. Courage requires persistence. It is not a one-time act, it is a continuous practice of self-respect, intentionality, and focus. Life will constantly test your ability to maintain boundaries, to refuse distractions, and to prioritize your own path. People will push, situations will demand, and internal doubts will arise. Courage is the force that allows you to navigate these pressures, to remain steadfast, and to continue prioritizing yourself despite challenges. Each time you practice courage, your confidence grows, your resilience strengthens, and your commitment to reclaiming your life solidifies. Saying no is a declaration of independence. It is a refusal to be controlled by others' demands, opinions, or expectations. It is the acknowledgement that your life is yours to lead, your energy is yours to manage, and your time is yours to spend wisely. Courage allows you to act decisively, assert your boundaries, and create the conditions for a life that aligns with your vision. Without this courage, you are trapped in the expectations of others, reactive to their demands, and limited by their priorities. With it, you become free, intentional, and unstoppable. Courage to say no is also an act of self-love. It is a commitment to your own well-being, growth, and purpose. It affirms that your life matters, your goals matter, and your potential is worth protecting. Self-love is not selfish, it is essential. Without it, you cannot serve others effectively, you cannot pursue your dreams fully, and you cannot live authentically. Courage transforms no from a word of refusal into a declaration of self-respect, a shield that preserves your life, and a compass that guides your actions toward fulfillment.